Have you ever stared at a blank page for hours, too scared to write the first sentence? Or filmed a 10-second short video draft, then deleted it immediately because you thought, my expressions are awkward, or the editing isn't smooth enough? Or picked up a book that caught your eye with its intriguing title, flipped the first page, then set it down for months, telling yourself, I don't have time to finish it properly. I did. And there's one more. Last year, I spent 2 months prepping the computer certification exam, staying up late to practice coding, taking notes on the module, and even downloading practice tasks. But then, when the registration deadline rolled around, I clicked cancel without hesitation. Why? Because I was terrified of imperfection, afraid that even after all that work, I might not score high enough, or I blank out during the exam, and based on my effort. So that's why I realized perfectionism isn't a superpower, it's a cage. And today, I want to share my idea. The value of trying isn't in avoiding stumbles. It's endeavoring to step forward, even when we might fall. That's how we grow. We are taught to aim for perfection, or don't bother if you can get it right. But what if doing it anyway, even if we are unsure, even if we are scared we'll mess up, is exactly how we find success. Perfectionism makes us wait for a perfect moment that never comes. But trying turns what if into what is. And sometimes the biggest wins comes from the smallest, most uncertain. Let's give it a shot. So let me share 2 moments where I threw perfectionism out the window and got more than I ever dared to hope for. First is AP courses. When my teacher mentioned them last year, I immediately hesitated. I'm a straight A student, but maintaining top grades already takes me so much effort. I spend hours refining my homework, double-checking notes, and making sure every assignment meets my own high standard. Perfectionism whispered, stick to what you know, AP is not stretched to sing, and you might risk mess up your hard-earned grades. For these, I overthought it. What if the extra workload pulled my focus from my core classes? What if I cannot keep up with the rigorous pace? But then I thought, what if I stop chasing flawless and take this as a chance to prevail next year's lessons? So I signed up for 3 AP courses, carved out vacant time to dive into textbooks, attended in-person sessions at our school, and worked through practice tasks. I didn't aim for perfection, I just committed to showing up and doing my best. The first month was brutal. At 6th AP calculus session, feeling lost. My classmates seemed to grasp calculus-based formulas instantly, while I was scribbling down basic definitions. That weekend, I spent 4 hours on a single practice task and scored a 3/5. I wanted to quit. Perfectionism screamed, see, you are not cut off for this. But instead of deleting my notes like I did with a computer exam, I emailed my AP teacher and said, I'm struggling. Can we go the formula together? So she stayed after school with me for 2 weeks, and slowly, things clicked. I mean, I still made mistakes, my homework got red marks, my test scores fluctuated, but I just kept showing up. When the score came back, 5, 5, and 4, I was stunned. I've always worried that trying something new would compromise my existing success, but instead, it expanded it. So that's when I realized perfectionism doesn't protect our achievements. it limits our potential to grow beyond it. After the AP courses taught me to embrace massive progress, I decided to tackle something I avoided for years, speaking up in oral English class. As a straight student, I excelled at writing exams and essays, but speaking up loudly in front of my classmates, it made my palms sweat just thinking about it. Perfectionism always whispered, if you can't speak fluently without stuttering, don't embarrass yourself. I skipped volunteer opportunities to the present, hiding behind my textbook during group discussion, and even pretended to be sick once to avoid an oral presentation. But the experience of AP courses kept echoing. Growth isn't about being flawless. It was about showing up, even if you're scared. So when our teacher announced that my mandatory class presentation was 10% of our grades, I resolved to stop running. Instead of cramming at the last minute, I started preparing 2 weeks early. I chose a topic I loved, science behind sustainable packaging, wrote a detailed script, and even made a simple PPT to guide me. Every night after finishing my homework, I practiced in front of my mirror, recording myself to spot awkward pauses and fumbled words. And it wasn't easy. I stumbled over long sentences, mixed up tenses, and even forgot my train of thought mid-practice. There were nights I wanted to quit. Thought, why bother if I can't get it right? But I reminded myself, this wasn't about being perfect. It was about proving to myself that I could try, even if I might fall. On the day of presentation, my hands were shaking as I stood in front of my class. I took a deep breath and began. Sure enough, I made mistakes. I stumbled over a few vocabulary words, paused to collect my thoughts, and repeated a line I already said. But instead of panicking, I smiled and said, sorry, let me rephrase that. I kept going, leading my PPT to cues, and speak from my heart about what I truly cared about. When I finished, the class erupted in applause. Louder than I expected, my teacher even said, that was thoughtful and brave, great job. And those small messy steps gave me the courage to take on greater challenges later. I know what you're thinking. It's easy to say, embrace imperfection, but what if I mess up and everyone sees it? I used to be there. I'd stay awake at night, worrying. What if I slipped up on the test and my grades dropped? What if I cannot live up to the student label everyone expected of me? The fear of falling publicly, of letting others down and letting myself down, felt paralyzing. But here's the truth. Most people don't fix it on your setbacks as much as you do. They're too busy fretting over their own mistakes, their own grades, their own fear of not measuring up. Perfectionism isn't about striving to be good. It is about being terrified, being scared of criticism, being scared of losing the reputation you built, being scared of being seen as less than the version of yourselves you're supposed to be. But when we let go of that fear, we realize something powerful. A missed question, a bad grade, a moment of uncertainty. These aren't signs of weakness. They are proof that we are brave enough to take risks, to challenge ourselves beyond what's comfortable, and to keep growing even when things don't go perfectly. So to wrap up, perfection is an illusion. So the only way to grow, to learn, to do something meaningful is to try, to fall, and to get back up again. Trying isn't the intention to succeed, it's the intention to fall. So next time when you are scared to start because things won't go perfectly, Please remember, the first sentence doesn't have to be flawless. The project doesn't have to be polished. You just have to begin, because the greatest growth happens not when we are perfect, but when we are willing to be imperfect.